There are major changes happening in Parker right now that most residents don't even know about. And so we're going to dive into new builds, infrastructure, downtown changes, schools, everything that impacts your quality of life as a potential future Parkerite.
Absolutely. We are Jake and Megan Friedel. We are your full-time real estate agents, part-time tour guides to all things Southern Denver living. And whether you're looking to move in 9 days or 900 days, we've got you covered. We are always excited to hear from you. All of our information is in the description below. Just to kick this off right, I want to ask Jake, what is your favorite thing about Parker?
Oh man, I love Parker. It's such a sweet town. It's got a really neat small town vibe, a really nice downtown Main Street area, and it's really turning into a real town. There's tons of sort of mom and pop shop energy in a lot of the business around, but there's also access to all of your corporate stuff. Like if you need to go to Costco, it's just a few minutes up the road. Target, all the big box stores are around here. It's got a great selection of grocery stores, and something unique about Parker is that you could be 10 minutes from downtown Parker sitting on 5 acres.
So true.
Super cool, and that's unique. There's not a whole lot of towns around that have that available.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Now, we've lived our whole lives, Megan. How have you seen Parker change over the years?
Oh man, we both have seen a ton of change to come to Parker. And some people criticize some of the changes, but I think a lot of it is great. You mentioned the small town charm of Parker. I think it still retains that. Some people disagree, but I think it still has that really cute downtown vibe while still having so much building and growing. They've done a lot of beautification to downtown Parker that we're gonna launch into more later, and they've really just made it really cool. They've also just developed so much. There's a lot of places where we used to be as kids, we would have been standing in a big open field, and now there's so much there. So I'm excited about the changes, and I think there's a lot to talk about, but I think it probably makes the most sense to start first with talking about all of the changes coming to residential real estate, because there is a lot of new development for homes coming up.
So should we start with the new builds?
Let's do it. Parker is known to have a ton of new builds. There's a lot that has already been done, and there's a lot still coming on the way. One big change that we're seeing with builders is they're releasing a little fewer lots at a time. A couple years back, they were releasing tons of lots, there were wait lists at the wazoo, and that's cut back quite a bit. Newland Crossing is one of the active communities. It's pretty much fully built. A lot of the units have already been sold. There's a couple left, but it's fairly occupied. It's popular because it's a little closer to downtown and the trails, so it doesn't feel so isolated. It's pricing in the upper 600s to the mid 800s, depending on your upgrades. Of course, you already probably know this if you're looking into new builds, but I'm gonna say this is a blanket statement for all of them. If the home looks like this, it's not builder grade. They really deck these models out to the fullest extent. So when you fall in love with the backsplash and the counters, just make sure you're setting your expectations at the door. The style here is modern suburban, clean layouts, attached garages, efficient floor plans, pretty typical of a lot of the new builds you're seeing in a lot of these suburbs. One special feature about the Newland Crossings area is, the location. It's in Parker, the new Parker, without feeling too far out like a lot of these new builds do feel. And Looking Glass is one of the biggest master plan communities that have been coming to Parker. Like Newland Crossing, there are a lot of lots that are already sold and some people are already occupying them, but there's already still a lot going on right now and more coming in the future. Think thousands of homes coming, parks, trails, and schools. And schools is kind of a hot button topic right now as far as Douglas County as a whole. We have seen some issues where we haven't had enough enrollment for some of the schools. And so oftentimes schools will be zoned and planned and they won't actually put a school there. So, when you walk into the new build community and you see the school plan there, don't always take that at 100%. These have not got yet funding and approval, so there's still a little bit up in the air for those. As of 2026, Looking Glass is in that early to mid build out, so there's still a lot left to develop. The prices currently are ranging in the low 600s, you can't find too many of those, into the upper 900s, again, depending on the builder and the phase, and of course, your upgrades. And then of course, also pay attention to your lot premiums. These are big here, depending on where your house is gonna be placed, it's gonna make a big difference. The feel here is very family focused, outdoors oriented, trails are a major feature. This is a long-term play, so if you're buying into a vision that's still being built, Looking Glass might just be it. As far as one of the portions of Looking Glass that is still yet to come is the duos. These are currently in the building phase,
and they're going to be the duplexes and paired style homes. So for anyone who's looking for new construction but still does not really necessarily want a ton of maintenance, this is a great option. Not a lot of yard to maintain, and it kind of is also going to accommodate a little bit of a lower price point with that than the single family homes.
And then trails at Crowfoot. This one is also kind of nearing the end of its builder phase, so you're likely to maybe even see some resale here, but there are still some active new builds that would be brand new and fresh to you. Pricing here is going to be starting in the 600s and ending kind of in the upper 700s. So as far as the ones we're talking about today, a little more accessible price-wise. The pitch for trails at Crowfoot right now is really as being an active, super outdoorsy build. So they're really close to a lot of trails, and the big draw is that access to the outdoor space. There's also, like Looking Glass, multiple builders here. So that really means a lot of different styles to pick from street to street. And then Tentera is also in its earlier build out phase. So you're gonna see a lot of options coming up, and they have really worked to increase some affordability options. So they have a duplex section here, and that's why those are gonna be pricing in the 600s, and their single family homes, more in the upper 700s.
A key feature about Tentera is this centrally located neighborhood park it has. It's about 30 acres, and it highlights kind of the natural play of the nature around the area. Multiple level play areas, a single track bike trail, multi-purpose turf areas, all the good things that your good, solid park has, but pretty massive. And it's got a community pool. 3 builders here are Richmond, Lennar, and Trumark. Trumark is the one that's currently available and selling. It's in the Kestrel neighborhood, and the others are going to be following closely behind.
And so those are all the homes that are currently actively selling. But what might matter to you more as a prospective potential buyer is the homes that haven't started building yet. The most notable of which is Kime Ranch. Currently it's set to be a pretty small community, about 150 homes. Because it's still coming soon, we're not completely sure on pricing yet. We have a guess though, knowing what other communities are looking like and kind of what the plans of this one looks like, that we're probably going to see those start in the high 600s. This is one to watch if you want to be in a new community early.
I always heavily advise my folks who are looking at new builds, bring an agent. I'm not saying it has to be us, but it should be us. But an agent, especially a good agent, is really going to sit with you on your monthly payment, help you figure out the true cost of these new builds, because a lot of times you see starting at and you see their advertised monthly payment, and these are not fully accurate. A lot of times the taxes are not set and the upgrades are not factored in. So that is one piece that we're always excited to help folks out with, as well as really just kind of comparing and making sure that the value they're looking for is there. We can always keep you abreast of appreciation and how this home is going to do in a grand scale and all of that good stuff. So bring an agent, call one of us. We're always happy to tag along with you and help you see some of the stuff that might not be super obvious. And the kicker, if you don't bring an agent on your very first visit to a new build, you may not be able to have one by your side the whole time. So bring an agent and bring them the first go around.
So I'm a huge fan of downtown Parker. It's a great place to hang out. There's tons of stuff that goes on down there. I mean, it's no downtown Castle Rock, but it's certainly miles beyond Highlands Ranch and Lone Tree's downtown areas. What is your favorite memory of hanging out in downtown Parker?
I love downtown Parker. The tailgate is a place that everybody in Parker knows well, and everybody's been there, right?
Everyone in Parker has a tailgate story. If you don't, you're not really a Parkerite yet.
True. So I was at the tailgate and I was wearing new shoes, and I don't know what happened, but I just stepped wrong and the heel snapped off. I had to go the rest of the night without my shoe, but great music, still really fun time.
And we have a whole deep dive about Parker that goes into the tailgate if you want to check out that video.
Yes, and all the other restaurants around there, but those are restaurants that had long time standing. Tailgate's been around forever. Of all of the new restaurants, have you been to any of the new ones?
Yeah, I've been to a couple new spots. It's not super new, but the Wild Goose Saloon is right behind there, just a little south. That's a really cool spot with an awesome view. And then, of course, La Loma on the north side of town. La Loma comes to us from a family of restaurants. They have a few spots. There's one in Castle Rock, there's another La Loma, and then there's Sierra over in Ridgegate in Lone Tree. And La Loma is legendary for awesome margaritas, high quality food, and just the restaurants these folks build are stunningly beautiful exteriors. It's one of my favorite date night spots because it just feels good to be there. It's like, not necessarily a speakeasy because it's a really large restaurant, but it's got like that kind of vibe. The lighting is perfect. The only sad thing about La Loma and Parker is it doesn't have the views that the other two restaurants have, but
Castle Rock's is beautiful.
Castle Rock's got an amazing view. But it is still such a high quality restaurant. I've never had bad service there. All the people are super friendly and super highly skilled.
Yeah, and so it's not just La Loma that's new. There's a ton that's happening downtown, a lot of building, a lot of retail, shopping. So I think we're gonna talk about it all. Let's launch into a little bit about downtown and everything that's changing there.
Let's go. Big downtown developments coming our way. So we've got the Juniper, which is a multi-building, several-story apartment complex with 260 residential units, plus commercial locations on the main. Now what's coming, we only have a couple of confirmed tenants so far, but we've got Poulette Bake Shop is moving there. So they're an already existing bake shop. It's a James Beard award-winning bake shop, and it's crazy pants good. Like if you haven't been there, you have to check it out. And it's just surprising to see a James Beard award-winning restaurant in Parker. Another one is Cask and Trotter from the same folks who own Wolf and Peach. Wolf and Peach is a great restaurant. Cask and Trotter is going to bring the same class and the same delicious food to this location, just a little more walkable to downtown Parker. Other things that are coming, we've got more apartment developments. We're turning some of the surface parking lots into more retail spaces and really cool things like that. And I know what you're thinking. Okay, parking in downtown Parker, maybe you're not thinking of this if you haven't been there yet, but parking in downtown Parker is actually phenomenal. There's so much parking and all of it is pretty much open, but they are making a multi-story indoor parking garage. So the parking isn't gonna suffer because of this. It'll just be relocated slightly. That's all part of a development called My Main Street, which has been an initiative to just make downtown Parker more walkable, more beautiful. And it's also paired up with several beautification projects where they're just making nicer medians, more areas for seating, decorative lamps and all sorts, just to make it feel more homey and like a really nice main street. Now some of our clients have given us the feedback like, great job on Main Street, what about the rest of Parker? You turn 2 streets down and it looks like a completely different town. Yeah, totally valid feedback. I still think a lot of that area is really nice. It's just not as nice. But give Parker a shot. These folks, it's actually a really well done and well run local government. I've had a couple dealings with Parker downtown selling commercial buildings, and these folks are really trying to do their best to help Parker develop into a beautiful town. And I think they're really succeeding in most ways. So give it some time, and I think more development's gonna come down the road. So in the overall, downtown Parker is just becoming a much more walkable, fun place to hang out, and I could see it rivaling Castle Rock's awesome downtown in the next few years. Some of the things we've got coming, I mentioned Cask and Trotter, great spot. We've got a homegrown tap and dough. We've got La Loma that came in 2025. We've got a new chicken salad chick planned, which is a fast, casual Southern chicken salad concept. We've got a Dunkin', shout out to my Northeast friends in Philly. And we've got a Kenkali Taqueria and Agaveria. So lots of good things coming this way, plenty of places for date night. Okay, we'd be remiss to not talk about the traffic and the infrastructure updates happening. Megan, what do our clients say about traffic?
Okay, our clients are always vocalizing their different opinions about traffic, but I find that usually the clients we've had that have lived here the longest have the most complaints. And that's just because they've seen so much change. A lot of our older clients moved here when there was not much traffic and not a ton going on. And they really moved here for this small town connection, and they kind of have had to trade that out over the years. But then, we have some clients from some much bigger areas, and they are like, what traffic? Of course, you have like a little bit of daily commute annoyance here and there, but as a whole, Parker traffic It's all about where you come from or how long you've lived somewhere. And to address the complaints though, Parker is doing some stuff. They're widening some roads. We do have some changes to Dransfeld and Chambers Road. That's probably one of the biggest infrastructure changes that we're really gonna see. It really affects daily life, and it started at the end of 2025. It's the connection between Dransfeld Road and South Chambers Road. It was completed by the town of Parker, and before it opened, if you lived in areas like Looking Glass or Hess Ranch or over nearby Crowfoot, most of your north to south trips funneled into Lincoln Avenue or Jordan Road, and this helps a lot with that. In case you're wondering, this wind we're experiencing today is not a change coming to Parker. It's always been there. But other things that are changing in Parker include a lot of changes to the school. And I mentioned this a little bit earlier when I talked about some of those schools that did not open up. But it's not just schools that didn't open because they didn't have enough enrollment, it's schools that closed down as well. Now, this mostly happened in other areas of the county, like Castle Rock and Highlands Ranch, but it's a countywide issue where there isn't enough enrollment in schools, and so they're either closing them down or not opening up planned school sites. This is impacting parents who currently thought that they had a really easy route to their closest school. Maybe they thought they were a couple-minute walk or even just drive, and they have to go a little bit further. It's impacting people currently, but we have to think about the broader picture here as well. In the future, this could have massive impacts. We know that right now, baby boomers are staying put. They're not making moves like they have in the past. And eventually, this will change. In the real estate world, we refer to this as the silver tsunami. And when that happens and these homes start to turn over, what will come in is probably millennial and younger families who will come and bring their kids. When that happens, I think there will be a massive shift of more kids needing these schools. And so we really just kind of have to see how that's going to impact the infrastructure. Hopefully for these areas that have just closed down schools that currently exist, we can just open those back up. But for those who've shut down the funding for building the new schools, that'll be a longer turn time. Parker Healthcare is also seeing a little bit of a makeover and expansion. They're expanding over at Advent Health in Parker Hospital, and that started at the very end of 2025, but not much has happened yet. The main hospital in Parker broke ground on a major $300 million expansion project. It's going to include a new 186,000 square foot, 7-story patient tower, additional operating rooms, emergency department space, and about 60 new medical and surgical beds. These floors are designed for future expansion of an ICU or even patient care access areas. And Kaiser has expanded. They opened up a new, larger building. Now you might be wondering, outside of just your own personal care, why do all of these hospital growth and expansions matter? Well, I don't know. That's Jake's bit.
That's how you know it's not AI, folks. So why it does matter. Okay, it does improve access to healthcare because this is a much bigger healthcare system, but it also provides tons of economic opportunity. There's gonna be so many jobs in this gigantic new hospital, which means if you're in healthcare, this gives you a pool of jobs to search for if Parker is the perfect place for you. In addition, this signals confidence in Douglas County, knowing that Parker is gonna continue growing into a sort of miniature suburban metropolis. Douglas County has been one of the fastest growing counties in Colorado, in the country, ever since I was a kid. It's gonna keep growing, and it's gonna expand specialized care in the area. So if you need specialized care, you're not gonna have to drive all the way to Denver to get it. You just drive 15 minutes up the road to Advent Health. So lots of great reasons to be excited about this development here. Oh, and another one is a lot of the new build development in Parker is aimed at 55 plus and active adult communities, which is really cool. We have some beautiful single family homes that are all ranch style homes on one level, which for whatever reason is honestly really hard to find. A lot of folks find themselves looking for something beautiful, but that is also small and isn't meant for a large family anymore once their kids have left the nest. So for those folks aiming at the 55 plus communities, really nice to have some extra specialized care right up the road. And as much as I like hanging out with my sister every Friday and recording these videos, what we really love is helping people find their dream home. So whether you're thinking about it in 9 days or 900 days, please reach out. We'd love to have a strategy session with you. All our information is in the description below.
Absolutely. And if more of Parker is what you want, more is what we've got. We have deep dives on neighborhoods, the pros, the cons, and all of the surrounding areas. So be sure and subscribe so you can be the very first to get it all.
Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.